Okay, good morning. Okay, good morning. So, we will continue with the transport layer. We started yesterday. The transport layer has a connectionless version called UDP and a connection oriented version called TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. Connection oriented and reliable version is the TCP. Reliable means error checking, flow control are there in TCP. Whereas UDP is connectionless and unreliable. It is an extension of IP. It just routes it to the process, concerned process. Nothing additional much is done in UDP, but certain applications, they prefer UDP because applications layers would take care of many things. So they want to deliver the things on time without much complexity. So we continue with TCP. So the TCP groups bytes into segments and it adds header. So every protocol will add its own header for information for the protocol to work. At the receiver, they should have many information for that protocol to work. So for that, there will be a header. So TCP also groups bytes. Many bytes are grouped into a segment. Now each segment need not be same length. So a few bytes are there. Here more bytes are there. Header is there. So different segment may have different size. Now this TCP segment would be eventually be carried in IP datagrams, and segments could be of different sizes. So actually here I have shown only 3 bytes and 5 bytes. It would be hundreds of bytes. It could be hundreds of bytes. Now there is a process here or an application at the sender. That is the sending process. There is a receiving process, an application. Now, since the process may be running at different speeds, we need buffers both at the sender and at the receiver. So this represents buffer. So this one represents a buffer at the sender and this one represents a buffer at the receiver. So we have indicated a circular buffer only, a circular buffer. Two processes runs at different speed. Sender circular buffer has 3 chambers. So the chambers are some segments or some bytes which are sent, shown here, send bytes. This is already sent, but ACK is not received. Bytes are sent. Bytes are sent, the second version. Bytes are sent, but not received. ACK not received. So that is this one, sent. And the first one I have written is empty. Empty means here there is an empty portion. So I think there is a white here and a pink here, but it is not evident. But this portion is empty. This portion is empty. And this would become full when transport layer receives bytes from the application layer. So at present, these many bytes are not received from the application layer. Now, there is a pink portion. This is the third chamber where bytes are received from the application but not sent. So it is sending regularly. These many bytes are sent and ACK is not received. These many bytes are received from application but not sent. And these are the empty portion where application can put bytes into the TCP. At the receiver, we have only 2 chambers. One is received. Received portion would be here. But it is not forwarded to the application. And empty portion. So that next byte received would be put here. So circular is shown because once ACK is received, this would become empty and then it will just rotate like this. So that is why the circular buffer is just depicted here. So there should be buffers because things are working at different speeds. The processes are operating at different speeds. Now, TCP features. TCP offers full duplex service. Full duplex means both transmitter and receiver can transmit and receive at the same time, simultaneously. So that is one feature, full duplex service. Second is connection oriented. So the two TCPs should establish a connection between them. And data are exchanged. After connection is established, data are exchanged in both directions and then connection is terminated. Now the next point to note is, it is a virtual connection. In a telephone line, you have a connection, there will be switches, there will be copper wire established from the caller until the receiver, copper or optical fiber or satellite or whatever it is, a link is established physically in a telephone circuit switching. But here, this is not a physical connection. This is only a virtual connection. So physical wires that are not allocated or things like that, it is only a virtual connection. Now TCP segment is encapsulated in an IP datagram and can be sent out of order or lost or corrupted and then resent. Thing is, like IP, there could be congestion, so data could be lost or something like that. It could be received out of order, but there is a mechanism at the receiver to take care of the lost segment, so that lost segments are resent by the transmitter or corrupted segments are resent by the transmitter. Then they are rearranged in order and then delivered to the application layer. So the application layer, as far as it sees, all the functions are done at the TCP protocol so that it is delivered in order at the receiver without corruption or without being lost. So they are taking remedial measures to resend the lost or corrupted packets and making the delivering the packets in order. So TCP creates a stream-oriented environment in which it accepts the responsibility of delivering the bytes in order to the other side. So whatever flaws are there in the network, in the IP, that is corrected by using error control and flow control, and in order delivery is ensured by this TCP. Whereas UDP doesn't do this. And this connection is not a physical connection. Now, there are segments. We need numbers for the segment. So actually there are no segment number. There is only concept of byte number. Everything is treated as a byte. So sequence number and acknowledgement number refer to the byte number. So segment would consist of 3 bytes or 5 bytes like that. So bytes would be having a number. So the first byte, what is the number? That would be the sequence number. When TCP receives bytes from a process, so at the sender, TCP is receiving bytes from the process or application. It will store them in the buffer and it will number them. And how it numbers, we will see. It is numbering the bytes, and bytes are contained in the segment. So TCP generates a random number between 0 and 2 raised to 32 minus 1 for the number of the first byte. So say application is starting. It is putting its first byte to the TCP buffer. Now the TCP has to number that byte. It is not starting from 0. The number is not starting from 0. It is a random number. And that random number is picked between a value 0 and 2 raised to 32 minus 1. It just picks a random number. Say let it be 1057. So the first byte number would be 1057. Now, subsequently, other bytes are there and total 6000 bytes are to be numbered. So it would number from 1057 to 7056 consecutively. 6000 bytes are put from the application layer into the TCP buffer, and TCP would number them by initially starting with a random number and then everything follows in order. Now the bytes are numbered. TCP will assign a sequence number to each segment that is being sent. Sequence number would be the number of the first byte in that segment. So the segment would consist of many bytes. Now all the 6000 would not go in one segment. It may be in many segments. So whatever is the byte number of the first byte, that would be the segment number of that segment. Sequence number of that segment. So bytes of data being transferred in each connection are numbered by TCP. The numbering starts with a randomly generated number. Suppose TCP is transferring 5000 bytes. It got a random number as 10,001 when it did a random choice or random selection. What are the sequence number for each segment if the data are sent in 5 segments? So they are asking what would be the sequence number of the 5 segments if data are sent in 5 segments, each carrying 1000 bytes. So it got a number random as 10,001. So 10,001 to 11,000 is contained in the first segment, and the sequence number of the first segment will be 10,001. Sequence number of the second segment would be the number of the first byte of that segment. Likewise, these would be the sequence numbers of the segment. So this is how sequence numbers are assigned to segments. Actually, bytes are numbered, and the number of the first byte would be the sequence number of the segment. The value in the sequence number field of a segment defines the number of the first data byte contained in that segment. Now, this one is reliable connection. TCP is reliable. So there would be ACK. So there would be ACK number. When connection, in UDP there is no ACK. It is unreliable and connectionless. So when connection established, so there is a connection establishment phase. Now it is duplex. Both parties can send and receive data at the same time. Now each party will number the bytes. Now ACK also have to be numbered. So ACK would be transmitted by the receiver. Now each party will number the bytes usually with a different starting byte number. So there also they will take a number and then start numbering. So sequence number in each direction shows the number of the first byte carried by the segment. So actually data could be transmitted from A as well as from B simultaneously, and the number of the first segment of the data transmitted from A can differ from the number of the first segment transmitted from B, or it could be C. So anyway, it is random and it is duplex. So it is bidirectional. Now the ACK number, what I want to convey is that the ACK is cumulative ACK. We have seen cumulative ACK. So if a party uses 5643 as an acknowledgement number, it indicates that it has received all bytes from the beginning. Beginning need not be 0. As we had seen, it is starting from a random value. From the beginning up to 5642, and the next byte expected is 5643. So when one of the end is transmitting a cumulative ACK 5643, it means that node has received all the bytes starting from the beginning, which need not be 0, up to 5642, and it is expecting 5643. So that is the ACK number contained in the ACK field. The value of acknowledgement field in a segment defines the number of the next byte a party expects to receive. The acknowledgement number is cumulative. Now the functions, flow control. Receiver, actually, flow control would originate from the receiver. So actually sender is sending. Now sender will get a feedback from the receiver. Based on it, that feedback, it has to regulate the flow. So receiver would control the amount of data sent by the sender. Now numbering system allows TCP to use a byte-oriented flow control. We have seen that it is bytes. Now error control consider a segment as a error control considers as a segment as a unit of data for error detection. So either a segment is lost or corrupted. And error control is byte oriented. We will see those in details. Further, there is congestion control. So another thing which we have come across in data link layer is the congestion control. This error control and flow control we had seen in the data link layer. This is there in data link layer. Now this is reappearing at the TCP. We have seen this sliding window protocol, go back and selective repeat, all those things. The same thing. However, congestion control is different that we haven't come across in link layer. Now this is a TCP segment. There is a data. This data are the bytes which are coming from the application layer and which is encapsulated. And a header is added. Now this is the structure of the header. Source port number. We had seen that there is a number for the application or process which is called the port number, which is 16-bit. Then the port number at the destination 16-bit. Sequence number we saw that it is between 0 and 2 raised to 32 minus 1, so it is 32-bit. Accordingly, acknowledgement number is also 32-bit. Now, header length. So everywhere you will come across this header. So whenever there are options, so minimum is 20 bytes. So this is 4 bytes, like that, 5 rows, 20 bytes, plus additions up to 40. So maximum 60 bytes. So what is the header length in? Actually, what is the header length? It could be a value between 20 and 60. Now some bits reserved future use and there are some flag bits. So we will see those. And window size. So I told that the flow control is based on the receiver. So receive window, that is this window size. So some value would be put here. So accordingly, the transmitter should regulate the data flow and checksum. We had seen checksum, and urgent pointer is something is so urgent to be passed on at the receiver. You need to indicate that. So some urgent pointer or some urgent data is there. Some additional things we are seeing for the first time. Urgent pointer, this window size, and all these flags. So we will see those things. So the TCP header format, source port address, 16-bit port address of the application program. Destination port address, 16-bit port number of the application program in the host. Now sequence number, 32-bit fields tells destination the first byte in the segment. So it will give information of the first byte in the segment. ACK number, 32-bit field, byte number that receiver is expecting, cumulative ACK. Now look at the header length. It has only 4 bits. So with 4 bits, we can represent only a small number. So actually header 60 means you need more than 5 bits, 6 bits. So you have put only 4 bits. So what it implies is how to read the header length is number of 4-byte words in the header. So in terms of 4 bytes. So actually you have a 5 value in the header length. It would be 5 4 bytes or it would be 20 bytes. So like that you can use fewer number of bits to indicate a larger value when you define that value in terms of number of 4 bytes. How many number of 4 bytes are there? So you need only 4 bits to indicate that. Reserved is 6-bit. and that is for future use, and there are 6 bits for as flags. Now the window size is this one. Maximum is 65535 bytes. Now receive window, that terminology is RWNT, receive window, is determined by the receiver. Now the sender must obey dictation of the receiver in this case. Okay, receive window is for flow control. So there would be a window like sliding window, some windows we have seen. So how much it can accommodate. So the sender should not transmit so much, so that receive window is indicated. Now urgent pointer, 16-bit. Valid if urgent flag is set. So in this flag, there is an urgent flag also. Urgent flag. So if urgent flag is set, it defines the number to be added to the sequence number to obtain the number last urgent byte in the data section of the segment. There would be some bytes which are urgent, and it would indicate an urgent byte. So that field will indicate that. Okay, we'll see that. First of all, we'll just discuss what are all these flags and everything. Options. Up to 40 bytes of option are there. So 20 minimum plus options 40, maximum 60. Now the control field. Urgent pointer. Sometimes we would set this to 1 in some cases. Now acknowledgement is valid, basic case 1. Now there is request for push, something like that, so that in some application, some data, we are passing the data, that data are the bytes in the segment. It would remain in the buffer at the receiver. And when its turn comes, it would be sent to the application layer. So the receiver would be processing the data sequentially. However, if push to request for push is set, that data would be sent to the application immediately. So it will not be kept waiting. So some application would require that. So for that we have request for push. Then reset the connection, synchronize sequence numbers, and terminate the connection. So finish, terminate, synchronize. So when we start the connection while establishment, we have this synchronize. And when we terminate, we have finish, fin. Syn and fin are used to for that virtual connection establishment. This is resetting the connection. And this is for pushing some data, should not be kept waiting in the buffer of the receiver. And this is ACK. Acknowledgement is valid indication. This is some urgency arises. There is another bit also. So urgent is value of the urgent pointer field is valid. So if some value is here, that is valid, should be indicated by putting a 1 here. So this will refer to the urgent data. Then you have to put a 1 in that flag. The value of acknowledgement field is valid. Now push is push the data, reset the connection. Sync is for starting the connection. Fin is for terminating the connection. So appropriate flag should be set at the transport layer. Now we'll see this syn and fin in the connection establishment. So it is a connection oriented, reliable mechanism, transmission control protocol. So connection establishment. Now server programs tells its TCP that it is ready to accept a connection from any machine. So server has to be opened first. This is called a request for passive open. So initially server has to be kept open. It is ready to accept a connection. Now any client issues a request for an active open. Client that wishes to connect to a open server tells its TCP that it needs to be connected to that particular server. So an application is running, it is under the control of the OS. Now the application should tell to the transport layer that it wishes to connect to a server, which is open. The server has to be kept open initially. So that information this application has to convey to the transport layer. So that connection has to be established in the first place. Now TCP starts three-way handshaking process. Now here a process is indicating this is opened, server is opened. Now the client should send a synchronized segment. So this flag should be set, sync. So why this A is here, I don't know. This I have taken from the book only. Synchronization flag should be set. Okay. And suppose the sequence number, there is only 1 byte in synchronization flag, and let that number be 8000. It is obtained from a random value. So that sequence number would be there. And these flags would be set. SYN flag would be set. And this would be sent. So this is nothing, no data in this. There is no data. Only synchronization flag is sent, but it would consume one sequence number. And it will consume one sequence, it is sent. So this is open initially. Now it will receive a request. Now it has to send a ACK. It also send a synchronization. Okay, synchronization and ACK bits are set. And next ACK is expected is 8001, cumulative ACK for sequence number 8000. But the sequence number here it has obtained randomly is 15,000. So it need not be synced. It is generating another random number. And it will subsequently continue with 15,001, etc. Now it is receiving a sequence number, a SYN and ACK. Now it will acknowledge. But this acknowledgement is not consuming any sequence number. Just note that some finer details like the response ACK from the client will not consume a sequence number, because this is just confirming this one. So it need not consume a sequence number in addition. So it will be reaching here and then connection is established. So a SYN segment cannot carry data, but it consumes one sequence number, initial SYN segment from the client. Now the server sends second segment as SYN plus ACK segment with two flag bit sets, SYN and ACK. The SYN and ACK segment cannot carry data, but does consume one sequence number. We had seen 15,000. Other one it was 8,000. Now the ACK segment, if carrying no data, consumes no sequence number. I think here ACK here alone will not consume any data sequence number, but when SYN is there, sequence number is there. So this one has to be checked why this ACK, maybe ACK is required is indicated here. ACK is required. So ACK is required means we have to set this ACK. So ACK and SYN are both set because ACK is required, and it is sending ACK and SYN, and this is now just responding with the same sequence number. So one sequence number for the SYN from client, one sequence number 15,000 for SYN plus ACK from the server, and ACK segment, it will consume no sequence number because it is just a confirmation. Now the connection is established. If connection is established, data transfer can take place. Okay, I think we will stop here and